to piggyback off like the velocity and the fastball standpoint, get really, really good at the elevated cheddar. All right. That's kind of the go-to. As a starter, I definitely, I mean, I would rate my performance from the elevated cheddar standpoint as a starter absolutely horrendous. Something about going back to being a starter this past year just made me just throw fastballs down in the zone. I don't know. And I'm still going to be able to hopefully do that out of the pen, harder velo, but also, have an ability yesterday. I was really pleased with yesterday's mound work because like I said, we did live ABs instead of like a sim game with my brand manager. And every fastball I threw was actually higher than the target. And that's a huge win, honestly. So that's going to be a driving point moving forward is the elevated cheddar. Might even throw, like if I need to, might even throw a bullpen and like have Pops or whoever can maybe catch it, just stand up the whole time and go like 15 fastballs, like at the chest, just to get that feel off a slope. And there's something, for the guys on YouTube, you'll find maybe a little bit of value out of this. So there was something that I found the other day. Let me move the mic up right there. Now there's obviously like that's whiteboard marker on my finger. There's been a lot of stuff that I've done on like finger and thumb placement and finger pressure and like the actual grip of a four seam, trying to trying to manipulate spin rate in some type of way. And I think I found a sweet spot with the seams, how there's like that middle piece to it that hooks to the other seam of the baseball, having like the pressure of the two fingers kind of pulling in the middle of that kind of allows for a little bit of increase of spin. Yesterday, I was like 2350. On the ones that I didn't do that, I was like 2100. That's a pretty significant amount of spin, but there's a lot of variables that go into that. So who knows? But what I found is when I'm like hooking and pulling that middle of that seam and I'm trying to go a fastball elevated, then it's hard for me to pull down on a seam and still elevate the ball out of my release slot, which is probably 6'7", I think 6'8", maybe 6'9" on some occasions. So something that I did the other day was I just went completely under the seam, like to where I'm not hooking anything. I'm feeling a little bit of seam on like the top of my fingers here. But now when I throw this ball, I'm like pressing the seams like away from the fingers and I'm not pulling down on anything. And I did see a decrease in spin, but I saw a super much better consistency in the elevated fastball, because like the elevated fastball, again, from my release slot being pretty high to pull down on a seam and still elevate it is pretty tough. So I went under the seam, still with the same amount of distance between the two fingers, and the thumb placement still under the ball in the middle of the two fingers if you were to split the ball in half. And that gave me, like I said, a much better opportunity and ability to elevate the ball. So something moving forward, if there's anything that I'm struggling greatly on with the elevated cheddar, then I could kind of remember that and see how that'll play.